Welcome back to the Hank's Strange Situation, Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Hank Strange, and I have a special treat for you. Sam of Andrew's Custom Leather. Sam, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you. It's been a year and a half since our
Has
last
it?
video.
Wow, time's going. Yeah, time is flying. So we're here. It's sweltering in Florida, of course. We're in St.
Wonderful
Augustine.
Florida summer.
Yes, but you have these new 1911 grips that you're doing.
Right.
I wanted to share with everyone because it's really cool. I've never seen anything like this.
It's a new product line that started by accident.
Oh, okay. I was going to say to you, how did you come up with this idea?
Just
say it was me, Sam. Say no.
Just before Christmas last year, Mike Heber at Cabot Gun, one of my dealers, they called me to say, where can we get some black Stingray grips? A customer wanted some. Well, I've never seen any of them anywhere.
Right. So customer request,
and I had never thought of it, but curse them, it put the idea in my head, and I couldn't get rid of it.
Wow.
So I got some extra skinny grips from Brownells and started experimenting to find out what would bond the skin and the wood. And after about a month of messing things up and throwing things away, we got it down.
Wow, awesome. Okay, necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely.
How many skinny grips did you have to get from Brownells?
I got a couple of dozen to start with. And, and now I'm getting grips made for me that don't have finish on them, so I don't have to strip them first.
Oh, nice. Now maybe you should get Brownells to carry these, but
we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll work that out. So you've got how many different varieties of these now?
Well, I've used up the first 100 grip blanks that I got, and we've made them out of just about every critter we work with.
Okay, very cool.
And there's lots of them here to look at, for example.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is show you guys what these look like, and then you'll show us how you do it, right?
Exactly.
Put us through the process.
There's more than a few steps, but it comes out very nicely.
Yes, just remember who originated the exotic leather grips. Do you have one that's just regular leather? I'm looking, there isn't.
No,
I don't know if anyone would ask for that.
I never made one out of just regular cowhide. It was all about the fancy.
Yes, and they look great. Okay, so let's tell us what you have here.
We've got Stingray. This is the diamond ray.
Yeah.
Hornback crocodile. Spinal stingray.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Usually the first one people gravitate to. Tegu lizard. We've got ostrich leg.
Very nice.
Alligator.
Yeah.
Hornback gator. Tiger shark.
The tiger shark actually looks like bacon.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, it does. It looks like bacon.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
Oh, down here these are elephant trunk.
Okay.
And these are hippopotamus with that soft velvety feel. We've got lizards, it's monitor lizard, ringed lizard, elephant there. This is the all black regular stingray. Okay, buffalo. And this is only some samples of all the things that we've been making.
So what would be the toughest out of these?
Well, tiger, shark, and elephant are the toughest skins of all. And you just cannot hurt them. But most all of them are very, very durable, very strong.
Okay. So, and then what are the favorites here that you...
You picked it. Most people have gone for the spinal stingray.
Okay.
It just jumps out at you. Although a lot of people like the hornback too. And what surprised me is how good a grip you'll actually get on the weapon with many of these. The texture of them helps you really get a good hold.
Yeah, so here's my question. I think that, because I'm just trying to anticipate what questions people would ask about these, right? So I think, like I said first, toughness, people would want to know that, like what's the toughest? You're saying on average they're all pretty tough?
You're not going to wear them out.
Okay, but if someone's really super concerned about that...
If toughness is the issue, the tiger shark or the elephant, they will not wear.
Okay, and including, like what kind of weather can these handle?
Pretty well anything you take wooden grips into.
Okay. So if it was raining and all that kind of stuff.
It's not going to damage them, although I wouldn't get them wet on purpose.
Right. But so the guns that you put these on don't have to be safe cleans.
No, that's for carrying.
Yeah, there's tons of 1911s at this point that are safe cleans,
also,
right?
The 1911 is the gun people like to dress up the most.
Yeah.
They see engraved guns, fancy grips, fancy holsters. we make more for 1911s than any other weapon.
Right. Okay. So before we jump into how these are made, because I'm sure people want to see how they're made, what other questions do you get all the time?
Well, the only one that comes up is on the height of the screw, the grip screw, and the escutcheon.
Okay.
Some of the really thin leathers, like the lizards, you have to get the short escutcheons
shorter
and screws,
screw.
which
I see.
Brownells sells.
They have them. Okay.
They're like $10 or so.
$10. Okay.
On the thicker materials, the grip screws you've got on your gun will work fine.
Okay. And can you have options with even the screws as well? Because someone might want to, like, maybe do like a nice brass color, or
Well,
do
I
those
don't
too?
have the screws,
Okay.
but
right. Yeah, that's obviously not up to you. But if someone
in
wanted
the
to do
Brownells
that,
catalog, there are many
get all
pages
those.
of parts for
okay.
these. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So now I would like to see exactly how these are made. I think the only other thing I could think of is what's the price of these,
Oh,
and how does it
they
vary?
range
Okay.
anywhere from about $1.25 to $2.50, depending on what creature you're
Okay.
building it out of.
Okay.
The cost of some
It depends on
skins
the
is much
skin,
more than
yeah,
others,
and how-
and some are more troublesome to work with, take longer.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. About how long does it take you to build these?
again, it varies from one
Okay.
skin to the next. Plus, I'm never doing one at a time. We're doing batches.
You're doing batches. Okay, so are you taking custom order for
We
these, or are you
do.
just building them?
We do take custom
Okay.
orders, although all the ones we have made are currently on our online store. So you
Yeah.
can go to the website, the online store, exotic section. There's
Yeah.
almost 100 of these grips to look
Okay.
at.
So if people are looking to get these, they can go online. We'll put a link in the description of the video where they can get them. So they can custom order it, but you already have ones that are made, right?
We have almost 100 of them on the online store,
Okay.
which there's a link from our main website page to the store. You can go to the exotic section and see everything that's available.
Okay, cool. And if you do custom order, what's the wait time look like?
These are quick. They don't take the time that the holsters do. So
Okay.
usually a week or two, as long as we've got the materials on hand.
Awesome. Let's see how these are made, Sam, because that's what people always want to see. I know there's folks out there that would like to try their hand at this. You're probably going to make it look easy.
It wasn't easy
So-
in the beginning, but we've pretty
Yeah.
well got it down.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's jump into that.
When we're making the grips, the first thing we do, you've got to cut out the blank larger than the grip itself, so you can get a really good bonding on down the sides and get the holes that line up with the grips holes. But to get a really good bond, these grips are very smoothly finished, very finely finished. So you've got to rough them up. The sanding drum on the Dremel does a really good job. Doesn't have to be much. Just has to get rid of that mirror polish smoothness and remove any dust.
So a quick question, Sam. What material are these grips made of, and does it
These-
really matter?
I'm told they're called heartwood, and I'm no expert on woods, but it's a very hard, very dense wood, and makes just a great platform to build these grips on. Once you have the grips roughed up, it's just a matter of getting the glue spread evenly. I learned the hard way not to put too much around the screw holes, because when you press it down, it tends to squeeze out. You've got a lot of cleaning to do.
What kind of glue are we using here?
It's a tight bond, which is actually a wood glue, but of all the things I tried, this created just an absolute molecular bond between the materials. It's really good stuff. I tried at first super glues and things like that, but they were too brittle. They would crack and separate at the edges.
Okay.
Even epoxy was too soft.
And is this a glue that you usually use around here?
No, this is one I was recommended to me by Brandon Jones. You remember you made
Brandon.
a video with Brandon
Yes,
about
absolutely.
his badge cases. Well, Brandon is a very expert woodworker and furniture maker. And he's been doing that for years, and this is the glue he swears by.
He's an amazing dude in his
He has
own right.
a lot of talent. Anyway, line up the holes, and the young man, Dominic, who works for me, Dominic Whitaker, he comes up with all kinds of great processes. I was just struggling with these, putting clamps around the edge. He came up with the centering dowels to get the holes in the wood and the leather to work together. And then, because he's a costumer and uses lots of foam in the creations he does, all these space age armor and things, he created foam blocks for us with the holes so we can get them over the dowels, and that spreads out over the entire face of the skin and the grip with these hard plastic ridges on the side, so that when we clamp them, it's forcing the pressure all over the face of it, but without crushing any of the softer leathers. At the same time, keeping everything aligned. So, I owe him for that one.
It's already more complicated than I thought it was going to be.
It was more complicated than I thought going in, but once you're in, you hate to admit defeat, so I just kept plugging. Then that one is going to need to dry pretty well overnight. And once they're out of the clamps, we set them in the sun to bake for another day. And that really gets the bond hard. I'm going to need to get more glue soon down to the dregs here. The important thing is to get the glue right to the edges. The edges are where you want the strongest bond, because of course anything you tend to peel it off is going to get there first.
Right. So for anyone looking at this that does want to follow along or try to do this themselves, I know you said you got the grips themselves from Brownells.
Right.
Where do you get the glue and the other stuff that you
glue?
use?
Home Depot.
Okay.
That's very simple.
Oh, so can you go into a Home Depot and get that glue?
Every day.
Oh, okay.
And the foam is made from those foam floor mats.
Oh,
You
okay.
just cut out the pieces, and we're using Kydex, but any kind of stiffener glued along the edge
Okay.
will work. And as you see, it's already taken the form of so many grips.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Oh, another tip. Before you attach the skin to the wood, you have to make sure the back of the hide, whichever hide you're using, is really clean, because some of it is kind of hairy and loose from the tanning. If it is, I take it to a belt sander and get it really smooth, where there's no fibers sticking up, anything soft that's going to come apart. Again, learned it the hard way. I've also made a very large investment in spring clamps. I think we have about 100 of them now. We're never doing one set of grips at a time. I put these out here this morning. They've had a couple good hours of sun, so they've bonded very well. Now we'll trim them and make them look like real grips. Once these have bonded and the glue has set, it's time to trim them. These little Weiss clippers, which again I got at Home Depot, are the most marvelous thing for cutting stingray, gator, any of the tough skins. They've got tiny serrations on the blade, and being short, they're very easy to manipulate, and I don't end up cutting into the wood. This is where it pays to go slowly, because if you nick the wood, you're not putting it back.
And how do you know what you want to cut off there?
I'm just following the edge of the wood, and it guides me. Just have to be careful I don't cut too far into it. Any excess there is, I'm going to get with the belt sander, so I don't have to be super tight on this cut. Now we have the roughed out grips. What's left is to make the edges all pretty. To get a really nice edge on these, I use a medium to fine grit on the sander. Not only does it true up the edge, but I can start to roll and get the rounded edge with it as well. I try to bevel her at first, not going to do it when you have wood and leather together. Now these are roughed in, and I need to use the fine stone on my Dremel to get the really smooth edge before I put on the sealer and the final coat. Once we've got the edges basically rounded with the belt sander, I find with the Dremel and a really fine stone, I can not only get into the little corners, but it gives me quite a good polish down the edges. And I'm always polishing in the direction that I'm going to apply the final coat, so all the fibers lay down. Once you've got the fine polish on it, it's time to take it over to the finishing table and put the sealant in place and get everything looking good. Now that we've got the edges all nicely smoothed, don't want to leave the bare edge exposed, so come over it with the edge coat. As usual, I'm using a mixture of about 3 parts of the Angelus Brown and 1 part of the black tough coat from Weaver. It gives it a better color, a harder finish, and goes on much more smoothly. I'll come back and touch up any highlights in a minute that aren't already covered, but you don't want to put on too much all at once. Less is more, and it's easier to just come back for touch-up than it is to get too much on in the first place. Now I'm always stroking the dauber in the direction that I sanded it and that I worked on it with the fine stone, because all the fibers then lay in one direction and you don't have them spiking up. Next, it dries for a few minutes, then I polish it down and give it its final coat, making everything really tight and smooth.
Taking full advantage of the Florida sun.
We're a solar-powered industry. Maybe we can get a government grant.
Absolutely.
Now that these have dried sufficiently, it's pretty well finished, but I'm a fuss budget, and there might be little microfibers sticking up, so I always give it a polish down. The old Bic pen works very well, in the same direction that I applied everything. get everything smoothed, and then apply a second lighter coat over the first, just to bond it all and give it that absolutely finished appearance.
And where can people get these special Andrews Customs Bic pens for buffing down?
Roughly anywhere you can find a pen. If you're really sly, you can pick them up and people don't notice. I end up with extra pens when I've been out. Don't know where they come
From
from.
banks?
Grocery stores.
Yeah.
Because when I finish with a pen, it just goes in the pocket without thinking.
It's it seems simple, but it's effective.
Absolutely, it's smooth plastic. You could use any smooth, hard object. But since I have scores of these things, why not? Okay, in rubbing it down, you've taken the polish off, smoothed out the surface there. So with a semi-dry dauber, just damp, I applied the second coat, making sure I get all the way down to the edge of the wood, don't leave any light spots peeking through. And very carefully place it on my cup. It's so much smoother after the rub down. I don't feel the dauber dragging on any roughness. And now we have our finished grips. Once they dry, they're ready to put on the weapon and impress everybody around.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap this video up. Thanks a lot, Sam, for showing
My
us
pleasure.
that. The more I look at these, like I definitely have my favorites, but I found that the more I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh, this would be really cool. This looks good if you're doing this kind of gun. Like is this the elephant?
That's the hippopotamus.
This is the hippopotamus. Yeah, if you're doing like a really nice stealth kind of 1911, that feels like it would be really cool to me. What is this? Tegu lizard. I like the orange in there. There's really a lot of options that I think you can do with this.
There's so many ways you can set it up.
Yeah.
Different colors, different textures.
Yeah, lots of ways to refresh your 1911. Go to andrewscustom.com. You guys have links there on how people can get this.
AndrewsLeather.com will take you to the main page, and there's links there to all our catalogs.
All right, great. And then the one of the things I want to know is that we always have people that look at these videos,
Right.
and they try to build along with you.
Sure.
or take this on. I'm sure you're going to find it's not easy, and then you probably get lots of people calling you, right?
Every once in a while, somebody wants some more advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So what can we do to kind of like minimize that? What kind of advice can you give people right now, tips-wise, if they want to get into making this themselves?
Most of what's important we showed in the steps and the process. Probably the biggest thing is get some dowels to go in the holes and line things up when you're trying to line up the skin and the holes on the wood. Without those, I'm putting the clamps on and it keeps sliding and I'm cursing and stamping my feet. It's very frustrating. So Dominic's little dowel centering worked beautifully.
Yes, big shout out to Dominic. He does a lot of cool stuff. I know you have you have a holster you're showing me over here that Dominic did the work on it, and I'll probably roll that in.
Sure.
And I was thinking, like, we were talking earlier in the video of just a regular leather, but that's a way to spice it up, right?
Oh,
Is that a possibility?
That's a
Can people do that?
possibility. People, if they want to put just regular cowhide on the grips, they can carve them, stamp them, initial them.
Yeah,
Get
so
all
they can
kinds of
do some really cool things in there if they
Absolutely.
wanted to. Awesome.
You don't have to have weird creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. But they look great. They look fantastic. They really are cool. I'm gonna get these. I will probably get a couple of these and try them out on some 1911s, and and share that with everyone out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to leave with the folks out there before we
covered
go?
all of it as far as the grips go.
Yeah.
That's the skinny.
Awesome. Don't forget to follow Andrew's Custom on. You guys are on Instagram. You're on Facebook, right?
Right.
Okay, and then definitely go to the website. And of course, if people want to order stuff, they have to call you.
We're old-fashioned.
Yes.
You have to call and talk to us. There's lots of little variables.
What
We
is
want
that
to get it
telephoning
right.
thing?
Yeah, I know.
Remember the times when you had to like go like this? Some people out there don't know.
I
you
sort of miss
really-
dial telephones. I like that. Click, 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 click.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Pleasure
Really
as
appreciate
always.
it. Thank you for sharing that with us, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. We have lots of people that support us on Patreon. We appreciate you guys. And if you want to keep up with us and different things we're doing, sometimes we give away stuff
That's true.
from Sam. You know, go to hankstrange.tv and sign up for our email list. That's how we do that. And of course, we have the podcast that we're doing Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. Trying to get Sam to get on there. We got to bring him into the
Time.
modern world.
Time.
Yeah, time. And we got to make sure that you ever heard of a computer? You ever heard of those things?
Rumors.
Yes. We've got to get all of that kind of stuff worked out, and then we'll get Sam. Maybe we'll get him to come on for about a half hour or
That
something.
would be fun.
Yeah, he's working all the time, making holsters, and not now. What are we calling these?
Exotic grips.
Exotic
For
grips.
1911s.
Absolutely. There you go. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Pleasure, sir.
All right. Peace.